Hey everyone, Sly47 here. Last time we talked about the most toxic ships in World of Warships. Let's talk about the roughest ships in this game. Let's maybe give some, pointers to wargaming to kind of go, hey, you know that ship? Yeah, it ain't like the rest of the line and it needs some love. So, yeah, let's get into some of the best ships you want to be saving your free XP for to save yourself from having too many gray hairs. Now, before we get into the really rough ships, I want to talk about the ships that some people actually do like them, but the majority of the community, in my opinion, all agree that these are the rough parts of lines. So let's talk about some honorable mentions. I wouldn't say that they're the worst, but I just want to count them, so if you are having a tough time playing them, just know you're not alone. First up in the honorable mentions is the Oland. Now this class, it is usable, but understand that this entire line is actually made of really solid ships that if you play them, of course, the right way, then you'll actually have some quite good fun. The Oland's kind of in that awkward phase where it doesn't have the amount of torpedoes to just be able to send off, or the reload rate, or anything like that. It's just kind of in this awkward phase. So understand, if you're having a tough time with the Oland, a lot of other people do too, and the Osterjotland is definitively worth it. It's okay if you skip past this, or even half grind this ship, or just try to use as much free XP to skip over this ship. It's a rougher grind, but it's worth it in the end. It's just kind of one of those awkward ships where it just doesn't have enough, and tier 8, of course, is a very competitive meta. Talking about tier 8 DDs, let's talk about the Lightning. Now, unfortunately, you're leaving the Jervis, which has a lot of torpedoes and a lot of firepower, to have less torpedoes, but now you have a little bit more skills, you got a little bit more AA, you actually can defend yourself, a little bit more maneuverable, but unfortunately the Lightning is a kind of a make or break it for this line. I know I stopped on this grind because of the Lightning. The Jervis is just such a great ship. Jutland a little bit better. Daring, of course, is daring. You're going to do that. But, of course, if you're in the Lightning, it's a little bit of a rough ship. Just keep on getting through it. Jutland's better, in my opinion. And then, of course, once again, daring is daring. Now, a little bit of change of pace. Instead of hating on tier 8 DDs, La Fantisque is kind of the start of the good part of the French line. So if you really skip through the lower tiers, no one's gonna blame you. This line is rough up until about tier 8, and then of course tier 9 gets even better, and tier 10 is just the meme itself. But of course, if you're going up this line, you kind of understand this entire line is a meme. It's not exactly a great line, but you're doing it more for the fun and for the insane speed. That's kind of it. But just an FYI, if you're wanting to save yourself from gray hairs, just get to 8. Or even maybe to 7, and then just try your best. Good luck! Now to one of the many tier 9s that are going to be on the list, but this one doesn't make the list because it kind of has a cult following, the Izumo. Now, I see why people like this ship. I do. Do I fully agree with them? No. But then again, tier 9's already rough, and this ship is actually quite surprisingly accurate. The Izumo, because of how close the turrets are, you actually don't even need to do the trick of increasing your accuracy by slowly moving your reticle just a little bit to one side or the other to make the shots count even closer. This ship is just naturally accurate, and that's really good for it. Unfortunately, you have to show such a massive broadside, and occasionally your turret's on the wrong side, and you're just like, okay, thank you. I'd like you to be on the other side where my other turrets are pointing, but you decided to go to the complete opposite side. Thank you, third turret. Thank you. Now, for the last honorable mention, the Lion. Now, the only reason why this one gets an honorable mention is because it actually can kind of be made to be usable. There is actually a warship in this line because it's surrounded by a really good ship at tier 8 and a pretty solid tier 10 in my opinion. But these two ships in the line, the Lion is just not as bad as the other one. So this one's going to an honorable mention. So of course, if you're going down the HMS Battleship line, just know you're not alone. The Lion sucks for a lot of people. It does. And yeah, good luck. Okay, so now that we've gone through the honorable mentions, let's actually get into some of the worst ships in World of Warships Blitz. Let's talk about ships that you really want to be saving your free XP to, because occasionally you do not want to get the gray hairs these ships will cause you. They are just objectively bad in my opinion, but this of course is my opinion. I'd love to see in your comments down below. Do you agree? Do you not agree? Let me know your own list of ships that you're like, hey, I wish I would have skipped that, or something along that lines. So let me know down below. Also, don't forget to hit that like button if you're enjoying this content. It really does help out the channel. But let's get into some of the worst ships in World of Warships Blitz. So we're going to start off this collection of garbage here with the Normandy at tier 6. This ship is just plain awkward. You are not at the Lion, which at least you have kind of a meme potential for, and you're not even to the Gascon, where at least you get rapid reload and can have a lot of fun there. This ship is just in an awkward state because you're not really a battleship, and you need to play it more like a heavy cruiser. So if you are playing this, you can kind of make it better, but the Normandy, it's just got such small caliber guns. It's rough to play, but you will at least have the 16 gun meme cannon at tier 7. Of course, the Lion coming up, so it's kind of worth it, I guess. Kind of. Now let's finish tier 6 off with the Alba. This ship is unfortunately just one of, I'd say, 2 ships that are going to be on this video. So Alba, you have 6 guns. They are 203s. Awesome, right? There's other ships with a lot more 203s that are a lot more effective, a lot better reload, and yay, you get really powerful torpedoes, really horrible angles, really horrible concealment settings for tier 6. It's just a very awkward ship. I almost wanted to put the Furutaka on this as well because that's such a bad ship as well, but this one takes the cake because now you're really competing against a lot of powerful ships at tier 6 and tier 7. Alba just can't do it, but luckily at least the Miyoko is good, and then Takao is just really solid. So you have some really good ships on there, and as you can tell, I stopped at a certain tier, so we'll get back to that one. On to tier 7. Oh, yeah. Everyone who's played and is going up the Christopher Colombo line, they know this ship. Because literally, the moment we played it, when they first showed off the entire line, everything like that, put it on a press count, everyone in chat was watching me play it, and I was trying my best. This ship is so inaccurate. And yeah, its guns are decent for its tier. It's just you can't hit anything. You're in this really weird, awkward phase for Italian battleships that this is the only bad ship, in my opinion, of the entire grind. All the other ships are either usable to powerful. Like, they are in that whole category. Francesco is the oddball out. This is the only ship in this entire line, and I would say it's worth it because the Vento is so good at tier 8. Overall, I'd say it's a little rough in areas, but it's still so much better than this. You'll thank yourself for skipping this ship. Just the accuracy, the guns, it's just not what you can do at tier 7, and please Wargaming fix this, because if you could make this one, then it would be exactly like the Minotaur grind, where it just keeps on getting good, better, insane. Like, just, come on Wargaming, just buff this ship, give it better accuracy, at the very least, and you'll really make this at least a usable ship within this grind. On to another tier 7 ship, the Algerie. Now this ship, unfortunately, in my opinion, it's kind of it's that ship line, you're in the puberty phase. You're not quite that confident AP throwing monster of the Charles Martel, St. Louis, and the Henri, but you were the great flamethrower of the La Gastiniere. It's just in this awkward phase that unfortunately tier 7, tier 8, it's a highly competitive meta, and the Algerie grind is rough because it's kind of a ship stuck in the wrong time zone and time frame, because it's just like, hey, I've got the 2-2 layout, and everyone's just like, well, we're kind of going the 2-1 layout with triple turret, not twin turrets. It's just an awkward ship, and if you're having a tough time with Algerie, I feel you. I feel you. But the Charles Martel, Henri, even the St. Louis a little bit, they're worth the time. And if you're having too much of a time, skip it. Just get it over with. The Algerie's a rough grind. Now, of course, you probably remember the Lion being the honorable mention, and I said another ship in its line is gonna take the cake for one of the worst ships in World of Warships Blitz. Yeah, it's the King George V. This ship is rough. Its accuracy is horrible. Its AA is horrible. Its skills are horrible for this tier. It does not have the DPM output that it needs to have, and it's competing also against so many other really solid tier 7s. And then you have this awkward turret layout. It doesn't have the strong, like, hitting 380s or the 406s that this tier starts bringing out, because you have 356s. The AP doesn't even attempt to save it, where in higher tiers the AP kind of comes out and shines a little bit more in this line. And the HE is just not enough. So the King George V, I thought the line was bad, and I even skipped a portion of the grind. I did. But the King George V, I remember this grind. I went back to it to remind myself for this entire video, and dear Lord, did I remember. I just completely forgot how bad it was. I just completely forgot. I did. It's a rough ship. It is, and that's why I put the line in the honorable mentions and this ship in the main list. So yeah, at least the Monarch's worth it. Now on to tier 8, which of course there's a lot of bad ships, so you have to really take the cake on this, right? If you've got a lot of options, where are you going to go for it? And let's talk about the ship that literally has its own nickname for itself. It's called the Trash Can, sorry. But this ship is massive out of the water. It is so easy to hit with so many ships. The only saving grace of this ship is you get to go to the Kiev next, which is really low in the water and a really good gunboat. But this is trash. It is. It's just bad. It really needs a lot of buffs. And actually, I think realistically, the best buff it can give is just dip it down in the water more, and it would be relatively good. But yeah, if you're going for the Kiev, and you're like, hey, I really like the Minsk, it wasn't that bad, it was pretty solid, you're in for some, yeah. Skip it, get the Kiev. It's worth every moment of pain and agony that you don't have to do. On to tier 9, which, dear Lord, yeah, there's a lot of tier 9s that are bad, and it's just because of how the tier is that, unfortunately, when you're a bad tier 9, you're bad. It's rough. It's a rough area to be. But the Ibuki, kind of a callback to earlier with the Alba, this is the other ship that's bad. The main problem that this ship has is that it's getting outdated in the entire meta of everything. So the Takao kind of gets away with it at tier 8 because, yeah, you run into carriers and stuff like that, but the torpedo angles kind of fix it, where the Ibuki goes back to the lovely Miyoko torpedo angles. And yes, it gets better aiming guns, but the problem is typically you don't want to be using the guns on these ships unless you've already been spotted. You want to start with your torps, but the torp angles prevent you from being a good ship for that. So that means you actually have to use the guns, but your armor just absorbs shells, and the moment you're spotted, pretty much you are just annihilated by everything in the area because you're such an easy target. Why not just remove you? So yeah, it's rough. And what's even worse is that the Zhao really isn't even worth using the XP to skip to. It's a strong ship. I love it, but I can't suggest it for most people. So Ibuki is just one of those ships that, yeah, if you want the Zhao, skip it, because at least the Zhao, like, sometimes you'll find a great game into it, but you'll never find anyone doing a really good game in the Ibuki. Talking about ships that are aging poorly, let's talk about the awkwardness of the Rune. So the Rune has 1 turret in front and 2 turrets in back, so it's better at kiting. That means it has to turn and show a full broadside to get the entire firepower suite on target. It has decent torpedoes, they're just short range. You know, it's got precise aim, so it can be accurate, but the guns don't pen that well. It's got sonar to hunt DDs. Actually, that's actually a pretty good, like, that is overall pretty good, but then you have the awkward turret layout that you don't have to deal with on the Hindenburg. Yeah, oh, this ship, I know so many people are so happy they skipped it. And I'm just going to say this right now, skip this ship. At least the Admiral Hipper can kind of work. It can kind of work. It's playable. It's plausibly playable, in my opinion. The Rune, though, this ship is just way too awkward. And the Hindi, like, yeah, I don't particularly like it. I know some people who can make it work. I really wouldn't suggest going up this line, let alone using all your free XP to do so. But, yeah, if you do want the Hindenburg, which is a powerful AP ship, and you feel like you can make work on it, skip the Rune, save yourself some pain and torture. Just skip it. It's bad. Now, instead of just talking nothing about cruisers, let's talk about a battleship. The Sovetsu Soyuz. Hopefully I didn't slaughter that too poorly. This ship is... It's an upgraded Vladivostok, which, like, I have a love-hate relationship with that ship. There were games where it really worked, and then there were games that it just didn't. The Soyuz isn't that much better of a ship, and it, you know, the Vladivostok's already a very long ship. The Soyuz is even longer for, in my opinion, no good reason. And add on top of it, the guns aren't that much better. You're not getting the big, hard-hitting 457s of the Kremlin. At least you're still at the 406s, and they're not any more accurate. They are nowhere near any better. So literally, you're like, hey, Tier 8's kind of a rough ship to play. Let me play a Tier 9 with the exact same guns. Why, Wargaming? Just, like, give it... This is a paper ship anyways. Give it, like, 420s at least. Like, give it something. Come on. This ship is just a damage sponge. If you have it on the enemy team, enjoy. You're going to be able to basically pen it all the time because the armor sucks. The guns suck. They don't hit hard, and then they shoot slow. So, yeah. If you really want the Kremlin, which eventually I used my free XP to skip this ship because I played at my press account, and I said, dear Lord, no, and I will make sure I make a video to explain to people why you just don't. Just save up. Just play a bunch. Get that free XP. Skip the Soyuz. If you really want the Kremlin, just do that. Just do that. Save yourself so much time and pain. Just don't. Just don't. Now, on to the last two, and, you know, just like the French line, we're going to invert it. It's not just one ship of the line. Oh, it's the entire thing, baby. The Pietro line. The Pietro, in reality, it's playable in my opinion. It's decent. It's there. But let's say you want to grind this line. So you see the Talon. You go, oh my gosh, that is a Tier 8 Donskoy. That, you know, Donskoy at Tier 9 is amazing. Somehow, in Wargaming's infinite capability to mess things up, to put it politely, they made a Tier 8 Donskoy that is downright horrible. I was so excited for this ship because I was like, it's gotta be. And I just remember, like, I think I was talking to Amira, and he was just like, no, dude, this is bad. Don't. And I was like, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna use some of my free XP, hard-earned free XP, unlocked it, Worst decision of my life. Got a press account. Okay. Tier 9 Moskva. Come on, 220s on a tier 9. This has to be good, right? Once again, don't know how they did it. Don't know how they did it. Don't know. It is so bad. It is such a bad ship. It just doesn't have the DPM, but it has the awesome guns and you can hit hard. But it's just whenever you're competing against anything else at this tier, even tier 8s can just rip you a new one. So if you really want the Pietro, this is going to be an investment and not a worthy investment. But let's at least go to a ship that I know good players can kind of make use of, to kind of lightly. Finally, we have one last, just for the collectors. This is literally just for the collectors because most players cannot play the next ship well in the first place. And I have to highlight it. I have to highlight it because the tier 9 and tier 10 got a buff recently. And, you know, we were promised a rework. And all we got was a, 0.18 increase on range? Are you kidding me? I ain't gonna fix shit. Pardon my language, sorry. But I only know 2 players that can make the next ship after this ship line work. Only 2. There's no other. There's no one else that I know that can make the next ship work. So if you are dedicated to your collection craft, I'm just going to say buy this ship and never play it and skip to the next ship, because at least the next ship, I'd say at least arguably is better than this. It's the Drake and pretty much the entire Goliath line other outside of the Albe Marie. There is only one barely good ship, and that's the Albe Marie in this entire line. Drake is downright horrible. This ship is one of the reasons why the Goliath, everyone's asking for a complete rework. Because the Albe Marie, it kind of works in the tier 8 meta. It kind of works. It's short, stubby, everything like that. It can kind of manage itself with fire chance and everything. But you go up to the bigger guns of the Drake, and then all of a sudden you deal with the fire chance problem that the Goliath and the Drake both have, which of course is their fire rate actually works against them in causing fires. And that's the biggest problem of this line, and I really hope Wargaming can actually rework these ships. Because once again, I only know 2 players that can make the Goliath work. Only 2 players. And that's Durian, who is literally the 1% of 1% of cruiser players. Absolutely insane. And someone who's right behind him, and that's Alistair. And he can make this ship work. He actually defends this ship often. But I even remember asking him, hey, does this buff help? And he's just like, not enough. Because even they realize any other ship at tier 10 would do a better job. Any other ship. Well, minus the Pietro. But we're talking about fire chain starting, so fire starting ships. But either way, no. Just don't go down this line. There is only one worthy ship, and it is too far in the grind to give a shit about. Period. And that is, in my opinion, the list of some of the worst ships in World of Warships Blitz. I hope this helps you realize you're either going in for a rough grind, get into the shop, or hey, I'm just gonna be able to skip this ship because, yeah, the community says it's bad, so just save myself some pain and misery. So hopefully this video helps so much. Wargaming, if you're watching, please fix these ships. Give them some love. Just do something with them. They really need it, and if you need any ideas, message us CCs, message myself. We know how to fix these ships. We can help you. It will save you time. All you have to do is just kind of go, hey, is that a reasonable buff or not? And then do it. like, we can help you. Use us. We want to make this game really fun, so use us. Let us help you help the community and help the game. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, don't forget the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can see whenever new content goes live. If you want to join up more of the community, of course, all the links are in the link tree down below. Special thank you to the Patreons for just everything they do, including giving me their eyes for new content coming up, because of course that's one of the perks of being a Patreon. If you want to help support Patreon with $1 to $5 a month, you can go over there via the link tree down below. But if you can't, which I understand, hit that like button on this video and any other video on this channel. It really does help out the algorithm and this channel, so we can build and make this community even bigger. Can't wait to see exactly where this all goes, and I've got some awesome ideas coming up. I really hope that all of you thoroughly enjoy. Have a good one. Peace.